Preparing to live stream the meeting. Oh man, it's gonna be so crazy.
I'm totally fine with that because nobody's going to be watching anyway.
Right. Exactly.
Let me see if I can get some more light going in here.
Okay, we'll see if we get a link. Preparing to live stream the meeting. Oh no, I don't want to hear that.
I'm totally fine with that because.
Okay, we got a little delay and everything. All right, Casey, where'd you go? What? We just went live and you got up and left? That's terrible.
I'm right here.
You got up and walked out. Now you're back.
Yeah.
You are back. Okay, so this is our first live stream. We're playing around with some technology tonight, and the topic for us is it's a little dated, but the Hummer EV came out last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's big news.
It is big news. Really shaking things up. I think it's been really hotly anticipated since what, the Super Bowl around that time is when they first announced they were going to do this, or we saw the kind of teaser pics.
You're right, and I completely forgot they teased the truck during the Super Bowl. We've been sitting around for 9 months now, waiting.
We're in a time warp, man. It's 2020. It's the pandemic world. Nothing makes sense. Time has no meaning.
Yeah. Time has stood still for us, but now it's here. So during the World Series, ironically enough, they decided to roll out the Hummer EV and tell the world what it was going to be about, and then proceed to tell us we have to wait like 2 years to get one, if you can even get one.
In true GM form.
Yes.
I can't tell you how GM that is. That is, oh man.
It harkens back to the Camaro when they brought the Camaro back and they told you about it for about 6 years.
Yeah.
And then they showed it to you and they said, it's going to be another 4 years.
Yeah.
And then, we finally got it. But, I mean, what's your initial impressions of what you saw when they rolled out this truck?
My initial impression is that it looks kind of okay. It's got a bit of a gussied up H2 look. It's not that kind of so ugly it's beautiful H1 look to it, right?
Okay.
So, I don't think they 100% nailed it on that, but exterior aesthetics aside, I'm really pumped about it because the tech that they, teased in their launch video and everything is incredible looking.
Yeah, the tech is overwhelming. I like the way it looks. I don't love it, but I like it because it's in your face.
Yeah.
It's aggressive. It's bold. It's clearly intended to be this gnarly off-road, go anywhere adventure vehicle, right?
Just like you've got in your background right now.
Yeah.
Now in this shot, I love it because I love the shot of that crazy roof.
Yes.
So this to me is where it's really in its element and where it's really going to attract, a lot of excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. The removable roof, the fact that you can stow all of those panels in the front is pretty cool. Because sitting in my driveway right now is a Jeep Gladiator, and the roof comes off, and it's kind of a pain to store that stuff.
Yep.
So if I'm out somewhere and I've got people with me in the back seats, then I'm pulling roof panels off and I'm just putting them in the bed of the truck. And that's not really a great solution. So this solves it. Something unique to electric vehicles, right? So we don't have an engine up front. We've got more storage. We can do crazy things. Kind of like the one that's over your shoulder.
Yes.
Which is another EV truck that's coming. We'll talk a little bit about the Rivian later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might be able to actually get one of those soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the Hummer EV came out, and how much does this thing cost?
Oh boy, it's easily going to push 6 figures, right?
Right. No. So the first edition, which is the only one that was out for sale or reservation, was $112,000 fully loaded, everything.
Yeah.
And supposedly GM sold out of those in about 5 minutes.
Not surprised.
Yeah. I mean, you can put $100 down. It's kind of the trick Tesla put out there with the Cybertruck. They went from $1,000 reservation all the way down to $100. And now all of a sudden everybody, you know, pulls out their credit card and says, $100? Yeah, why not? I'll just hold on to one. Something that Ford Bronco did too, just a couple of months ago, with great success. Something like 400,000 reservations, I think I read.
Yeah.
But Cybertruck, or I'm sorry, the Hummer EV, much more exclusive. We actually don't even know what the first edition production numbers are going to look like, but it's going to be small, and they're already sold out, which means you can't even get one probably for another 3 years if you haven't already reserved one. And so you mentioned something about the technology. What jumped out at you from a tech standpoint that kind of blew your mind?
The crab walk thing. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, there's lots going on there with the all-wheel drive, you know, tech and everything. But to me, the really cool thing was I was just like, the crab walk. That's just made for a press release video, right? Like, I don't know how often are you really going to use it, but you can say you have it. So,
you know,
for your $100,000.
Here's the deal with crab walk. If you're doing hardcore off-roading, you're going to use it.
Yeah.
There's just going to be times where it changes the game if you're on an incline and you've got something right in front of you and, you know, big rock or whatever that's tough to get over. If you can just slide a little bit right without the whole back up and go for it and all that and try to get the right angle, if you can just slide a little bit over, it'll work.
No, I hear you. I just think the stickiest situation that these things are going to see for a long, long time is going to be when somebody spills their latte on Rodeo Avenue or Drive. Like, it's just that's where all these launch vehicles are destined to end up, is in a paved paradise. So,
all right, man, it's our first video, and you're already taking a shot at the truck drivers. That's rough, man. So your premise is $112,000. These are mall crawlers. Nobody's going to take this thing off road.
Not malls. People don't go to malls anymore.
So you're saying even the mall? You're even taking a shot at the lingo.
Shopping.
Okay. Nobody goes to the mall anymore.
Not to do high-end shopping, no.
Ooh, I'm not so sure about that. I think you might be wrong.
I am told, I'm getting breaking news that there's supposed to be comments rolling in.
I am hearing the same thing.
Okay.
I'm seeing something along those lines, that we actually have some comments on our live stream. Oh, wow. So, we've got somebody, a guy named Brendan Malley. Brendan Malley. Malley. See, he says he can get up to 4 Broncos for the same price as the Hummer EV truck.
Yeah. Or 100 1999 Toyota Corollas. So, I mean, I don't understand.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
But okay, great point.
How many ratted out Miatas can you get for the same price as a Hummer EV? Maybe he could answer that one for us.
I bet he could answer so many things for us.
You know, maybe you never know when Brendan might just dial in and join us and offer up his opinions live instead of via chat. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, Brendan does bring up a great point, though. Escape mode.
All right, describe escape mode.
No, you do it because I don't remember what it was. It's when you get stuck and it escapes. Oh, it can lift itself like 100 inches in the air.
at least 100 inches.
It's the go gadget Hummer. It can like and drive off.
Yeah, exactly. No, there is a special off-road mode where the truck will increase the lift via the air suspension. And kind of the killer part of that, though, is
I got a couple of all roads in my driveway that'll do that. I mean, that's like 20 years old.
You're killing it, man.
I'm sorry.
Killing it.
I'm sorry. That's also a lie because neither one of them will do that because the air suspension is broken and was replaced because it's crap. Anyway, please continue.
What's great about EVs in an off-road setting is how the car can actually control the torque output to the tires, to the wheels. And so escape mode is optimized to get you out of those situations. Now, the crazy thing about escape mode is that it does lift the vehicle to its max setting, right? And then there's no travel at all in that suspension, okay? And so it only does it at very, very low speeds. In fact, as soon as you're out, basically wants you to get back out of escape mode and get back into its normal suspension travel setting. So yeah, and then it optimizes everything just to get you out of whatever situation you're in. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty nifty. I think from a technology standpoint, one of the other things that kind of jumps out at you is, okay, this is a great off-road truck. It's also a truck that will do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
A big, massive, heavy pickup truck on 35-inch tires will do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And so,
weren't they claiming like 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, pound-feet of torque?
No, they were claiming 1,000 horsepower and 11,000 foot-pounds of torque.
That's right. I'm sorry. Gosh.
It is a gimmick. Go watch the Engineering Explained channel. He'll walk you through all the details of how they got to that number and why it's kind of ridiculous. But Tesla plays the same game, so GM was like, "Hey, we can do that.
Sure,
we can do math." So yeah, guys talking up EVs always want to play up the torque aspect of the vehicle, and it is incredibly impressive, and you get this amazing performance. And honestly, that's the one thing about the EV revolution that kind of scares me to death, is all these cars hitting the market with obscene performance and people not really being able to handle that.
And it is obscene. I think the fastest car I've actually driven did 0 to 60 in just under 5. I drove a C5 Corvette that was probably another second quicker than that.
SVR we had was in the low
fours. That's right, in the low 4s.
In the low 4s, it's pretty fast.
It's pretty stinking fast.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we did the E-Pace, which was even faster, right? Wasn't that a true about 3 seconds?
No, it's not. I don't think it was quite that fast, because I will tell you, I've been in a Model Y Performance, and that is the fastest vehicle I've ever been in, and that's right at like 2.9, 3.0, 0 to 60, and it will make you sick to your stomach if you're not ready.
Yeah.
I mean, it alters your brain can't really process that kind of torque and that quick. It's crazy.
If you're not used to it, it's like it squeezes a little bit of the air out of your lungs.
Hey, breaking. Oh, I think we've got incoming. We have incoming. Brendan Malloy. Maybe joining us.
Is he going to be on the call?
Yes. Welcome, Brendan. It says you're incoming here. We can see you, and now we're waiting on your audio. So any second now, we should have the Boracle joining us.
The Boracle.
The Boracle is on his way. The man with all the answers. 0 questions.
More answers than you could possibly want.
Yes. So, all right, Brendan, I think we can hear you now. Brendan, are you there? Oh no.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you now. All right. It was a rough start. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no. I'm just looking at the bottles behind you, Brendan, and now I'm really regretting that I'm sitting here alone without a glass of America's finest whiskey sitting next to me. Oh, some Basil Hayden. You should.
Very nice.
I have another bottle of Basil Hazen's up there that you recommended of their rye that I haven't tried yet.
Fantastic.
All right, Brendan. So yeah, we can talk whiskey later, gentlemen. In fact, maybe in episode 2, we all start out correctly with a glass of our favorite scotch or bourbon. But Brendan, the topic of the day, I think you already know what it is the Hummer EV.
I do.
And
So-
Shirley, I'm very interested in your initial impressions.
So I'm gonna have some takes here, guys. Hot takes are kind of my thing. The best feature on the whole truck is the frunk. Did you see the size of that frunk? You could
It is a
fit
giant
3
frunk, man.
bodies in there. It's pretty impressive.
This is definitely a vehicle for serial killers. It's optimized. Think about it. You can fit a ton of bodies in the front. Okay. You don't even need a tarp. Well, you might want to put a tarp down in the front, but you definitely don't need to, put anything in the back.
Yeah.
And you can get anywhere. So, if you need to dispose of bodies, it's the perfect vehicle for serial killers. And you can get there fast. Really, really, really quickly. So,
Sorry, guys, I had to rectify this.
Watts to freedom.
Watts to freedom, the WTF mode.
Some man that needs a raise. That's who came up with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the most America.
I won't lie. It never occurred to me that it was WTF.
Well, it didn't for me either for a while. And I kept saying, why did they call it that? I don't get it. It sounds really cheesy. And then when I saw it on paper, like, oh, that is the Coors Light pop the top feature right there. That is cut off jean shorts, sitting down having a beer.
What's a better mode name? Watts to freedom or Ford's go over all terrain, I think is what it is, or any terrain. The goat mode
on
the new Bronco.
Goat mode, or just Tesla's just ludicrous mode.
Ludicrous mode. I thought of that, but
ludicrous. Oh yes.
All right, so that's a great pivot here, because as soon as this truck came out, everybody kind of lost their minds and they either love it or they hate it. But the immediate comparison is to the upcoming Tesla Cybertruck that everybody's trying to make. And I'm curious what you guys think about that, Casey. Do you, what's your initial reaction to that based on what you know about both?
Oh, man, I think it's the classic mistake of automotive journalists comparing cars that are never really going to compete against each other. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you just look at the Cybertruck, the Cybertruck. I mean, God love it. It looks insane. Okay, it looks like a spaceship. It is not designed for the Earth. Elon is getting ready for when he can build a factory on Mars and outfit it all with Cybertrucks. Like, there's actually going to be very little crossover between those customers. It's, while probably going to end up being very capable, it's definitely far more of a lifestyle truck for cruising around and saying you've got the Tesla truck. Now, I know it's kind of insane to say when we're talking about comparing it to a Hummer that's going to cost $100,000. But I mean, you look at the press thing, this is the off-road capability is a major selling point. Whether or not people actually do what it's fully capable of doing, they're buying it because they want to feel like they can take it anywhere.
Yeah. I think
while they're driving down Rodeo Drive, running over lot space.
This is kind of how ridiculous the comparison is, right? Is that because it's EVs, we've all forgotten what market segments really are, right? Even within a product type. So this is like comparing an F-150 Lightning to a Ford Raptor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's totally two different types of approaches to a truck. And so everybody's like, oh, well, you're getting so much more of this in this truck versus this truck. They're different. They're just radically different from the ground up. They're going to be designed for two different functions. And, I think Tesla has done an amazing job opening up the EV market, and they do things that are kind of out there and absurd, and they're designed to get as much attention as they can. And the truck is no different. It looks, like you said, I swear that Musk built himself a truck that he can Thelma and Louise off a cliff on Mars. That's his whole goal. He's going to load this up on one of those spaceships, and he's going to Mars. And he's going to drive this thing. It's going to get it airborne, and it just that's how he's going out.
So I've got a question.
All right.
I keep seeing this background.
The Boracle has a question,
and it reminds me that there's a third player in the game that I haven't heard mentioned yet on this video. And
you should have tuned in sooner.
I think it's got the best combination of options and fits the true market segment for somebody who's looking to buy a truck that also happens to be an EV. Because Crazy California People is a Cybertruck. Not saying that I don't think they're insane and awesome, and I kind of want one. And then the Hummer's got its advantages. But then if I look at a traditional truck, if I'm somebody who wants a truck that I can drive every day, I'm going to go to an R1T. That Rivian, it looks like a normal truck, and it's going to function as well or better than any truck that's going to be available, from Ford or GM or Chevy.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% correct there, but that's kind of Brian's point is you look at the truck behind me, I see Tacoma all day.
Yes,
I see people
1000%.
that are
in that blue for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I see people that are gonna trade in their Tacoma for one of these, and that's a different buying segment. It just is, And these are I can't even remember now. The R1T, well, you're probably gonna pay another $20,000 over a Tacoma. Something like that.
For what Tacomas go these days, maybe not even that much, but at least out of the gate. The first year or two, they're going to be the high end trucks. They're going to be more expensive. They're going to,
but are they going to be more expensive than a King Ranch or
no, not necessarily.
It's going to be a $70,000 truck, which you've seen the market can sustain.
Sure,
guys. Well, the Gladiator can be had for $63,000 with a diesel engine and everything on it. Right.
Yeah.
So
and a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and people throw the kitchen sink at these things now. But you're right, it's a mid-sized truck. It's an everyday truck, but it's a truck that has a tremendous amount of capability built into it, just like a Tacoma. So I do think that is the most direct comparison in the ICE market, right? It is definitely a Tacoma.
Yeah, and that's why I've got it behind me, because to your point, Brendan, for me, it's the one I'm the most excited about because it's the one that's actually sort of accessible, although not really. But I would never even consider a Cybertruck or maybe for you.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, when Brian decides he wants to go more EV than he already has, I could see him ending up with one of those in the driveway.
Yeah, it is interesting, but it is okay. All joking aside, you guys are right. The product is so well thought out, and you can tell that their intent. They're building their entire brand on this truck. They're building everything. Their design ethos, who they want to sell to, what they want to build upon from here on out, and so it has to be kind of mainstream, but it has to set itself apart from the Tesla and the what we see from Hummer, but they got to be able to build a lot of them and sell a lot of them. And
didn't they sign like $1 billion deal with Ford?
Yeah, they've got all this money coming in from all kinds of players. So Ford's taking a big chunk. Amazon, because they're going to build these delivery vehicles for Amazon.
I think they delivered the first one.
Yeah, maybe. But they're going to.
I say delivered. I think they gave them like a pre-production prototype, and they're supposed to make like a couple hundred this year, and then they're supposed to make 20,000 or something next year. It was a big number. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. They're well financed. They and they've taken their time, and they're not rushing anything. So big expectations from those guys for sure. So
has there been more shots fired in our comment section? I don't know. You'll have to interpret that for me, Brian.
Oh man, who is this guy? I'm glad you have a mock-up of how big the Hummer will be by sizing it with Brian. Wow. Man, that's pretty rough. Wow.
Yeah.
I have to take a few guesses at who that is, but I've got my suspicions.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, probably somebody who wishes they had never sold their Raptor. We'll see. We'll see. We'll find out soon enough.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not sending them the link to this video, I'll tell you that.
So I just want to ask, so Ford has been slowly talking about the F-150 EV. Is that going to be, what do we have any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's interesting. Ford knows how to build a pickup truck, right? They have been the market leader with the F-150, and there's no way they're not going to, do something in the electric truck space. They kind of, the future, obviously, they've said they're trying to pivot to electric vehicles. They're going to do an electric truck. It may be sooner rather than later. Knowing Ford, though, considering what they've done with the Ford Mustang Mach-E, they're not really looking to the truck to be their brand image for electric vehicles, right? So they're probably going to go about it a little quieter. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I'm afraid they're going to play it too safe. Like GM has very little to lose with the Hummer by going to the extreme that they've gone to with the Hummer. Ford has the cachet of the F-150 brand that they don't want to taint, because they saw some of the feedback and pushback on the Mach-E, and so I'm afraid that they'll be so conservative on the F-150 electric that it won't be the truck it could be.
Well, here's the deal. They'll be really conservative, and they'll sell 50 times more of them than.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a right way to go, but
Yeah. Well, the good news is so far there's a market for every one of these things, and I can't wait for them to all hit the market. I'm really looking forward to it. The more choices, the better. A couple of things that we didn't even touch on with the Hummer EV is just the interior. And, they really seem to be throwing a ton of luxury at it. If you look at the details and the images that came out, everything is there. It's the high quality leather seats, the detailed stitching, the ventilated leathers, the details and the materials on the doors. It's the wood trims, the metal trims on top of the leather, everything down to the floor mats. I don't know if you guys saw the edition 1, but they actually went with that lunar theme to it, throwback to like the Apollo missions. Just some really cool features, but all the luxury amenities are there too, right? So the cooled seats, the heated steering wheels, the digital rear view mirrors, 18 cameras, including front and rear facing trail cameras on the underbody, which basically you don't need a spotter.
Dedicated washers.
With the washers on both the mirrors. So we've seen that here recently, where you get those virtual images under the vehicle from the new Defender 110, right? So you get this virtual image between the front wheels. GM's going to take that to the next step. They're going to do it front and rear. You can see what's underneath you. So, which is really big for the off-roaders. Again, if you're you're worried about your breakover angle and you're worried you're about to high center something, you should actually be able to see it on your camera before it happens. Again, really crazy technology. I think I read they're going to do the kind of 3D in maybe even holographic heads-up display images. What else do they throw at this thing? Super Cruise. So their next generation of Super Cruise, which we still haven't gotten to experience. Their self-driving tech is going to be on this thing. It's loaded up. There's everything on it. And
you like that the roof comes off.
Yeah,
we love it. We love that.
I mean, if you're gonna make an off-road vehicle, that is a feeture people are gonna look for, and so I think they would have been remiss not to do that.
Yeah. That's honestly the one thing about the Rivian, the R1T, that I'm a little bit disappointed in, is there's not something there along those lines. There's a translucent roof. You could, you control how much light is in and out.
The electro.
Yeah, whatever. Come up with something, Casey. Come on, tell us what it is.
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I'm just sad though, because every time I see a car with the roof off like that, a truck without the roof off, it's like all I want to do is get in a gasoline fight. And with these EVs, you lose that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll get you a taser for your birthday, Casey.
A what?
A taser.
Listen, here's the deal. There's still nothing stopping you from going down to the quick trip and getting in a gasoline fight.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So you're good. It's just less likely to happen in an impromptu fashion.
That's true.
Yeah. So, oh, my goodness. All right. I think we're kind of running out of content here, boys. But good experiment.
Talk about Lucid.
Huh?
Talk about Lucid.
Lucid? What about him?
I was thinking about that.
What about him?
I was pretty impressed. The car looks pretty good. The Air.
The Lucid Air looks amazing.
Yeah.
And in the same way, like a Mercedes S-Class looks amazing. Only this one is a hell of a lot faster. There you go. I think it is a gorgeous car. I really do like that.
Inside and out. I mean, yeah.
Oh, inside's a game changer.
Yeah.
I was reading about, the folks who've actually gotten to sit in one, and they were talking about how tremendously large the interior of the car is. And it feels so much bigger on the inside than on the outside, which is, I think, a really interesting concept, because it's going to drive like a fast as hell EV, but two, I think it's going to drive and feel like a smaller car, but still have the interior form factor of something like an S-Class or 7 Series or whatever, without the issues that you have with driving a limousine-sized vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I mean, that's a selling point for EVs that a lot of people don't realize until they get in them. We've had a Chevy Bolt now in the family for 3 years. It's about to go back to General Motors. It's at the end of its lease, and that's the thing people are always surprised about. It looks like a small car, and then you get in it, and the space inside it's way above its class.
Yeah,
because you're just not constrained by the traditional design, limitations of an engine and transmission tunnel and everything else. So you get all the space dedicated to your passengers, and that's going to carry forward in these trucks. It's going to carry forward in the Lucid Air, and I think people are going to be surprised. And then the performance of an electric car is something that people just cannot appreciate until they actually drive one. It's pretty.
I've told several people that the Chevy Bolt is the best car that GM makes. Now that's before the C8 came out, which I'm sure is an awesome car. But for me, like the ones I've been in, the Bolt is the best car that GM has in their lineup.
Pound for pound.
Maybe until the Hummer comes out.
It drives like a GTI, and it's deceptive because all that weight is down. You get in it, and you feel a little higher than you would think on a car that size.
Right.
But the center of gravity is quite low, and it gets up and goes. It's a fun little car.
I don't drive that car on a daily basis. Somebody else in the family drives it, and every time I get back in it, it's just a blast. And I'm always reminded like how good it actually is. And you said it's the best car. It represented, when it came out, a complete from kind of clean canvas of what the engineers at General Motors could do. You could tell that the leadership at General Motors went to this team. They kind of threw their best guys at it, and they said, do what you want to do and make it great. And don't worry about, parts bins. Don't worry about traditional design. Just go do what you want to do. And, it's simple. It's simple to use. It just kind of hits all those little sweet spots, in that kind of a segment, in that compact hatchback style segment. Really, really good vehicle. And, they're a great bargain on the used market now, with still tremendous range. You're looking at about 250 240, 250 miles of range on a good day. For probably a 3-year-old car now, you can get it for probably around $15,000. No gas and no maintenance. Man, definitely go check those out.
You could go get I think it was an LAPD parking enforcement BMW i3 for about 15 grand as well.
Oh.
They bought a whole fleet of those and then barely used them. And then now they're selling them.
God, how California is that? I was just thinking about those the other day, and actually just asking that question to myself: what are they like on the used market? So yeah, another cool car. It's probably a good used value.
That to me, that's BMW started out strong in the EV space with the i8 or the range extended EV, and then has just let it die. I haven't seen any commitment and really from Audi's got the e-tron. Mercedes talks about what they're doing at least a little bit more, and I know BMW has had a bunch of leadership changes, and I think those leadership changes have at least been in part because of the lack of progress on the EV front.
Well, yes and no. I think what you're going to find, so, BMW treated it as an experiment. The i3, the i8, it was, an engineering exercise, and probably more than anything, it was how to manufacture the chassis, the body, the carbon fiber tubs that they were starting to utilize for this stuff. They wanted to know they wanted to get better at it. And what they've done behind the scenes is really interesting. They haven't rolled out a lot of product, but they've built an infrastructure within their company and a platform that's scalable and adaptable. And so what you're seeing right now, in some ways this is really smart because nobody outside of Tesla is producing electric vehicles in a profitable manner. Okay, nobody's doing that. As great as the Bolt is, Chevy they don't really want to build them. They don't want to sell them. They lose money on every one of them. But BMW kind of said, we got to get from point A to point B, but there's going to be little baby steps in between, and we're going to build the architectures that support that. And so now almost every vehicle that you can buy from BMW actually does come in a plug-in hybrid model across their lineup. They don't really, publish it too much, but 3 Series, 5 Series, X3, X5, I think the X1 hybrid is already out in Europe, not quite in the United States yet, but they are very committed to it. And then next year you get the iX3, which is your fully electric kind of X3, although it's on a totally different platform. So what they've done is they've invested a lot of money in figuring out how to build these components that can grow and scale depending on what they're trying to accomplish. So it's a totally different strategy than what you're seeing from everybody else. And it's quiet, but I think it's coming pretty quick.
Yeah. So they can hopefully actually make money at it.
Yeah, they want to make money in the transition.
Yeah, and that reminds me of, Volvo and Mercedes and VW both have their scalable architectures, and I hadn't considered how that would play into an EV or a hybrid system. So that's an interesting point, Brian.
Yeah, now Volkswagen, kind of the complete opposite. Here they're going. They've got what is it that they just threw out in Europe? It's the what do they call that thing?
The ID something.
The ID3.
Yeah.
And then they just unveiled the ID4, which is that will be in the US for sure. Yeah, they're going all in.
I want a VW bus electric, because the form factor of that is perfect for a skateboard style EV system, and then a tremendous amount of space.
Right.
Like that's something that you could just stuff people and dogs and things into, and I think it could be really, really neat.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me. So, we're sitting here talking about the trucks. That's where we started, and throw it back up here in the background. We talk about adventure vehicles, and in the United States, you're seeing this huge uptick in demand for getting out, right? Campers, RVs, people throwing tents on their trucks, going off into the mountains for a couple of weeks. I don't know anything about that. But this transition to electric, you know, the Hummer EV, the Rivian in particular are really focused on getting people outdoors. In fact, Rivian's kind of building their whole brand around that. You know, charging infrastructure is still an issue out in the middle of nowhere, but they're trying to take some steps around that and putting chargers, you know, near state parks and national parks and in points of interest, you know, so people can get to Colorado, recharge their vehicle at the mountains. But I want to see some companies start building the adventure trailers that you tow behind with battery pack chassis.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
Like extra battery capacity. And in Europe, there was even that small company, I think we saw it several months ago, that are building these little towable battery packs for the EVs, right? To extend their range. And, you know, that's a great idea, right? Because you can tow it, use the battery capacity, and then maybe there's a station that's got, you know, you can trade them out, you know, pull up one, park it, grab another one, and keep on going. So, you know, really interesting ideas of how to just keep these things moving.
Even better idea, diesel generator hooked up to an electric generator on a trailer. And then you don't even have to worry about getting to a charging station.
There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh.
Problem solvers. Use the existing infrastructure.
We can do this.
Somebody will do it, guaranteed.
Heck yeah. Why not? All right, guys. It's after 9. I'm killing this. Casey's like, I'm not even halfway through my glass of scotch.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to drink some whiskey tonight. You guys have a good night.
All right. Pretty good first video. First live test. I think it went pretty well. And, you know, I'm sure it'll get about 5 views out there on YouTube this week. So
it's all
the over-under is 3.
Over-under is 3. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to get real aggressive. Okay, and there's only one way to end our videos, which is wave. Okay, see you guys later. And